one more day. One more day. Please, God, give me one more day. One more day. I ain't ready yet, give me one more day. One more day. Please, God, give me one more day. One more day. I've been really paranoid since they killed Nip. Got me looking at my homies.
Good morning, fellow stackers, stack investors, stack preppers, stack collectors, and stackaticians. That was One More Day by G. Perico, and I'm happy to be back with you for another day. This is Expat Stacker coming to you all the way from South Korea. Let's get you filled in with some of this past week's events in the 6th weekly Restack show. If you're a returning listener, then welcome back. And if this is your first time joining, then welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe. In this show, I summarize and review the news of the past week in the following format. First, we do a quick 5-minute market recap of financial markets. Then we do a 5 to 10 minute finance/bullion related news segment. After that, we move on to a few minutes of world news and current events. And then we finish off the show with stacking community news and notes. I can't cover all the news, but I try to get to as much as I can. My only objective is to help keep anyone who wants to listen as informed as possible. I try to be as neutral and as impartial as I can, although nothing is ever 100% impartial. I aim to give you the facts and information, and it's up to you to decide what you think about it. Please leave your thoughts, comments, criticisms, feedback, questions, and suggestions in the comments section. So without further ado, let's get into this past week's news. In the metals markets, gold closed the week at $1,734.52 an ounce, and it seems to be settling into this new territory for the time being. Gold is down about $50 an ounce since last week and is now over $200 an ounce cheaper than its 2021 high of $1,960 an ounce. Silver slipped a bit this week, finishing off at $26.64 an ounce, and it is off its 2021 high of nearly $30 an ounce. Platinum slipped a little bit as well this week and finished the week at $1,187, down nearly $100 an ounce since this time last week, and also off its 2021 high of nearly $1,300 an ounce. Copper held on this week and finished at over $4 a pound, which is down about 20 cents or so since last week, but it's holding on above that $4 level for now. Oil finished this week at $61.33, and it looks to be continuing to pick up steam. Bitcoin is back down again after another tumultuous week, currently trading around $45,700 and continues to see a huge increase in trading volume. Ethereum also experienced lots of volatility toward the downside this week and is currently around $1,496. Major Wall Street indices, the Dow, the S&P 500, and NASDAQ all finished lower this week at a little over 2% down, 2.63% down, and 3.5% down respectively. Asia Pacific markets mostly followed Wall Street's losses as the Kospi in South Korea slipped this week by about 2.91% and Japan's Nikkei dropped by nearly 4%. The US dollar gained this week due to bond yield holding nearly one-year highs against a basket of other world currencies. Investors around the world seem to be on edge as sell-offs in Asia have started. Central banks around the world are signaling relatively tighter monetary policy, vaccine programs, which are now currently getting underway in a host of new countries with important economies around the world. And financial analysts are expecting price inflation as vaccine programs are hinting at full economic reopening and the beginning of global economic recovery as being increasingly within the reach of the near future and pent-up economic activity that would likely follow. Let's turn now to precious metals and finance-related news. Swiss gold import-export numbers are in, giving us a glance at where the action is around the world in gold markets. India, the US, Thailand, the UK, and Germany were the 5 largest next export destinations of Swiss gold, respectively. The UK, the UAE, Hong Kong, Italy, and the US were the largest importers of Swiss gold, respectively. According to consensus outlook from analysts entering the precious metals price forecasting competition with the London Bullion Market Association, the gold price will average $1,974 per ounce across 2021, which is a rise of 11.5% from 2020's record high annual average. 12 of the 32 analysts predict that gold will average $2,000 an ounce or more across 2021. The median forecast for 2021, with half of the forecasts above and half below, is $1,965 per ounce. In 2020, the actual annual average gold price of $1,770 exceeded the LBMA's consensus forecast of $1,559 per ounce by 13.5%. This is the strongest divergence from their predictions on the upside in the past 15 years. This year's highest gold price forecaster, Thorsten Polleit of German small bar brand and retailer Degussa, is a first-time entrant to the LBMA competition. Leading the next most bullish forecast by almost $140 an ounce, he predicts an annual average of $2,300 an ounce in 2021, with a peak at $2,680 and a low of $1,750 per ounce, citing the, quote, politically dictated lockdown crisis, artificially low interest rates, and unprecedented growth rates in the money supply. Quote, it is far from certain that an extremely easy monetary policy will pave the way towards a sustainable economic recovery. In any case, price inflation, be it in the form of consumer and or asset price inflation, will be the result, end quote. Polleit also tops the bull forecast for silver, some 64.9% above the LBMA competition's average $28.50 prediction at what would be a record $47 per ounce, fully 1/3 above silver's annual average peak of $35.11 in 2011. The lowest 2021 gold price forecaster comes in at $1,650 per ounce from a 9-time competition winner, René Hochreiter of Noah Capital Markets / Siberiana Research in Johannesburg, South Africa. Hochreiter now forecasts one of the tightest ranges for 2021 gold prices, with a spread of just 15.7% and a peak at $1,840, saying that, quote, after the fastest recovery in the history of the global equity markets, gold may see an equally sharp decline as risk and volatility fall, end quote, and pointing to this year's consensus outlook for vaccine rollouts, Chinese and global GDP growth, plus perhaps a US rate rise despite weak inflation thanks to businesses, quote, scared by the pandemic. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, global silver output was 25,000 tons in 2020, which represents a 6% drop from 2019, and is the 4th consecutive year global supply has fallen. The USGS said that this drop was primarily caused by shutdowns in mines in China, Mexico, and Peru in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. 9 out of the top 10 silver producing countries in the world have seen a decline in their silver output, with America as the sole exception. The US increased its domestic silver production by 2% last year. Another intelligence source, Global Data, expects global silver production to increase by 8.1% in 2021 and continue to do so until 2024, which is a compound annual growth rate of 3.2%. This estimate is contingent upon continued reopening of economies and the mining industry, as well as other factors such as demand. The U.S. 10-year Treasury yield briefly surged above 1.5% on Thursday. Until the Fed declares an intervention to bring down the long end of the yield curve, equity markets could continue to see volatility, according to Danielle DiMartino Booth, who is a former Dallas Federal Reserve governor, CEO of Quill Intelligence, and author of the book Fed Up, an insider's take on why the Federal Reserve is bad for America. Yields rose on the back of higher inflation expectations, and importantly, while 1.5% is still not very high on an absolute level, the pace at which yields have risen has alarmed investors, DiMartino said. Quote, much more importantly is the rapidity with which we've seen the increase. In August, we had a 10-year yield of a third of what you just said, 1.5%. So it's a very rapid move, and you have to consider that even though rates are very low at absolute levels, the rate of change, the delta, that matters as well, she said. Equities don't like higher yields, and rising rates, lower valuations, and markets are already seeing signs of weakening stock market and over-leveraged economy, she added. Quote, what we're seeing in the markets and some of the jittery reactions we're seeing in stocks not liking the rise of rates is also an acknowledgement of the fact that we have more leverage in the system than we've ever had before. So there are major refinancing needs with commercial real estate in 2021. The same goes for the corporate bond market, she said. The Federal Reserve is likely to intervene by bringing down the long end of the yield curve, DiMartino noted, saying, quote, it's a lot of the same mechanisms of quantitative easing. The Fed is just going to buy up enough debt until they get the yield where they want. They're going to cap that yield at a certain level, end quote. All right, now let's move on to general news and current events. The parliamentarian of the U.S. Senate, Ms. Elizabeth McDonough, has released an advisory opinion which suggests the removal of the proposed 5-year phase-in of an increased $15 minimum wage by 2025, which is contained within the U.S. President Joe Biden's $1.9 billion stimulus package. According to the rules of the U.S. Senate, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has procedural authority to ignore and override the advisory opinion of the Senate parliamentarian. Thus, whether or not the $15 minimum wage increase is kept within the stimulus package rests solely on Joe Biden's decision. The $15 minimum wage increase was a key campaign promise of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, as well as a number of other Democratic U.S. senators, including the 2 new Democratic senators from the U.S. state of Georgia, which is a key race the Democrats won to win control of the Senate. In President Biden's first military action as Commander-in-Chief of U.S. Armed Forces, Biden ordered 2 U.S. Air Force F-15 fighter jets to drop 7 precision-guided bombs on targets within Syria that border on the nation of Iraq. The areas targeted by the U.S. bombs are areas that the U.S. claims are harboring Iranian-backed militias. The U.S. claims those Iranian-backed militias were responsible for recent rocket attacks into Iraq, which have killed U.S. service members and contractors. Unconfirmed local reports suggest that at least 22 people in Syria have been killed as a result of the U.S. airstrikes, according to London-based group the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. U.S. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby also confirmed that the airstrikes occurred and confirmed kills. However, he did not specify the number of casualties. Kirby commented on the bombing of eastern Syria as carefully calibrated, calling it, quote, proportionate and, quote, defensive. The Syrian government condemned the attack Friday, calling it, quote, cowardly U.S. aggression, end quote, in a statement from the country's foreign ministry that was published by the state media. The strikes violate international law and, quote, will lead to consequences that will escalate the situation in the region, end quote, the foreign ministry said, according to state news agency SANA. Russia, one of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's chief backers, said it was given just 4 or 5 minutes warning before the strikes occurred. Quote, "This kind of notification does nothing when the strike is literally already on its way," unquote, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov told reporters in Moscow. The U.S. was operating in Syria, quote, "illegally," he said, and called for better communication with the Biden administration. The Pentagon defended the legality of the strikes, arguing Article 2 of the Constitution grants the president powers as commander-in-chief, and citing Article 51 of the UN Charter, providing countries the right to, quote, "self-defense in response to attack." Members of the U.S. Congress, including members of the Senate Armed Services and Foreign Relations Committee, also questioned the legality and the rationale and demanded to know why the White House did not consult with lawmakers more closely beforehand. Democratic Senator of Virginia Tim Kaine, who is a ranking member of the Senate Armed Services and Foreign Relations Committee, stated, quote, "The American people deserve to hear the administration's rationale for these strikes and its legal justification for acting without coming to Congress," end quote. Quote, "Offensive military action without congressional approval is not constitutional, absent extraordinary circumstances," end quote, he said. And he called for Congress to be fully briefed on this matter. Re-entering the Iran nuclear deal was also a key campaign promise of the Biden administration. Iranian officials did not immediately react to the strikes, nor to the accusation that they are backing militia groups within Syria. On February 14, 2021, U.S. President Joe Biden said that he would push Congress to enact more gun control measures in the United States, including allowing gun manufacturers to face lawsuits, banning assault weapons, and placing bans on high-capacity magazines. He stated, quote, "This administration will not wait for the next mass shooting to heed that call. We will take action to end our epidemic of gun violence and make our schools and communities safer. Today, I am calling on Congress to enact common-sense gun law reforms, including requiring background checks on all gun sales, banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, and eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers who knowingly put weapons of war on our streets," end quote. Biden's pick for U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland also testified during a public hearing that he would support the White House's stance on gun control. According to the National Shooting Sports Foundation, up to 8.5 million Americans purchased their first firearm in 2020 amid concerns over civil unrest, political violence, and stress on security institutions during the pandemic. Furthermore, several firearms and ammunition manufacturers have reported shortages due to a surge in demand. Amazon warehouse workers in the city of Bessemer in the U.S. state of Alabama are continuing to vote on whether or not to become the first unionized Amazon warehouse in the U.S. The National Labor Relations Board has mailed ballots to approximately 6,000 Amazon workers who will vote on whether or not to join the wholesale, retail, and department store union. Voting on this matter will conclude on March 29, 2021. Workers are demanding greater oversight, negotiating powers, safety standards, and more participation in setting productivity standards. On February 2nd, 2021, Amazon was ordered by the U.S. Federal Trade Commission to reimburse flex delivery drivers nearly $62 million worth of tips for the drivers. Amazon used the tips to pay the salary of the drivers instead of adding the tips in addition to their salary, which is illegal. The total amount that is owed to the drivers is approximately 1/3 of total tips. Amazon has thus far successfully resisted unionization of its warehouse employees in the U.S., but has not been able to successfully prevent unionization of its European locations. Amazon requires U.S. warehouse employees to regularly attend anti-unionization meetings. Amazon warehouse employee Joseph Jones talked to a U.S. media outlet about his experience at one of these meetings. Let's listen in.
one of their biggest points that they were trying to get us outraged about was, look at this balance sheet of this union. They spent $140,000 on vehicles last year. Can you believe it? So I raised my hand, and in this setting, no one talks, right? Because they always open up for questions, but who's going to speak out to the company unless you just don't care? So my question was, okay, so let me understand your position. You want me to be outraged at the fact that this union spent $140,000 on qualified business expenses, as it seems that you're showing us, but Jeff Bezos makes $150,000 every single minute of every single day, but I'm supposed to be outraged at this. You're like, yeah. Yes, aren't you mad? It's crazy.
Now let's move on to community news and notes. Pirate Stacker has a wonderful video out detailing how to make jalapeno poppers. So if you like cooking and jalapeno poppers, check out the video. Austrian Stacker passed 1,000 subscribers not too long ago, so go ahead and give him a congratulations for that. Pistol Pack and Pilot, aka Triple P, who I forgot to mention last week, I'm sorry buddy, is having an event on IG, Instagram, and it's a big push for 1,000 subscribers, and I talk to him regularly, and I heard he's going to be doing an incredible giveaway for loyal supporters once he does reach 1,000 subscribers. So go check out his channel, and if you enjoy what you see there, throw your support behind him. Subscribe, comment, like his videos, share his videos, but don't just do it for the gaw. Do it because if you actually like him. All right. There have been a number of excellent videos from Salivate Metals, Silver Britches, and 2is1, which have cautioned new entrants into the silver market against being overly influenced by silver pumpers, and these videos deserve our support as we want entrants into the market to be in it for the long term, not to leave after a short time feeling discouraged. Silver pumper videos are carefully crafted in order to gain lots of clicks, and so therefore we have to support members of the community who are offering a counter narrative to the pumper videos. Prepper Jack has an excellent video out recently about his silver stacking plans for 2021. I highly suggest you go check that out. And The Dude Abides also has a really great video showing off his Bill of Rights rounds collection. He has the full collection. It's really great, and I thought the video was really well done. It's not just showing off the silver rounds. It's an incredible video in my opinion, very well done. He doesn't even say a single word, but there are lots of important messages in it, so I highly suggest you go check that out. I also want to suggest that you go check out some great new channels out there, including Oregon Stacker, Guam Stacker, and Persian Stacker. Furthermore, the YouTube content creator formerly known as the Mad Stacker has launched a new channel called the Maddest Stacker. He is attempting to rebuild his channel from scratch, and he currently has 211 subscribers as of the filming of this video. I just subscribed to him. So if you like the Mad Stacker, you'll probably like the Maddest Stacker. So go ahead and subscribe to his channel. Check the link in the description for my SoundCloud page where you can listen to this episode as well as a backlog of episodes on the go. Also, just a quick reminder, I've decided to do this show for 3 weeks in a row and then take a 1-week break so that I can do it sustainably. And this episode was brought to you by Millstax' Graphene. You don't invest in graphene? Then you. Right. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Leave your thoughts in the comment section, and I will catch you all next weekly Restack.
Had them killers on deck ready to shoot for. Gangsta rap Al Capone. I gotta make it back home. I got a baby that hardly ever see me. Look at my life, and I really can't believe it. I'm a star, got me a driver for the car. Main goal in life to live large. Drop hits for the Crips. Caught up in street politics.